Taka. Hey there, friends. Hi there, I'm Eli, and welcome to Net2 Vancouver. Who here is brand spanking new? Oh, that's exciting. Well, you have stumbled into my favorite thing, basically my 10-year crazy volunteer project, and I've dragged all kinds of great people in with me. Beep. So, housekeeping. You need to know about the Wi-Fi. You can see right there, it's high 5G, and the hint right there is the I is lowercase, and otherwise, it all looks smooth. We're going to advance the slides pretty fast, but if you miss it, there are honeycombs on the back walls. So, of course, you can always go there and hunt down the password at that point, too. Should you feel so inclined, we have a hashtag, Net2Van. Uses all kinds of hashtaggy things. Don't worry. Chris would normally be in charge of this, but we trapped him on front of the stage. And for washrooms, if you go down the upper hallway, it'll be right there on your right. It'll work out really well for you. Beep. See, this is the intro. So you've stumbled into one of the big nonprofit technology meetups. There's actually a whole bunch of them scattered across the globe. Beep. See, look at that. So next time you're in Toronto, which you shouldn't do, there's actually a group there for you. Or maybe you're in London, feeling kind of glamorous, going to go visit the Queen. You can also visit Net2 London. Or maybe you're going to be in Nairobi, because why wouldn't you be? Again, there'll be a group there. So as you scatter yourself across the world, you're going to find your nonprofit technology friends wherever you go. Beep. So everyone has rules. Our rules are that we shouldn't be jerks to each other. That's sort of the short version. The slightly longer version is these, which is we try and be welcoming. We're going to put community first, which means this is not our place to hawk our wares or, do the hard sell. This is a place for us to support each other. We are ultimately here to support the nonprofit sector. That's why we're here today. We invite participation, and I'm going to force you to participate at the end of this night. I'll tell you more about this. And then finally, we're going to treat each other with kindness and respect. So before you say something, just say am I bringing my best self into that comment? Then go ahead. Beep. And I need your help. Here's the deal. We are going to meet this week, and we're going to start planning out very vaguely the whole 2020. Coming up with event ideas is hard. Producing them, slightly harder still. So we are looking for people to get involved. Maybe you want to help with greeting at the cruise. Maybe you want to help come up with event ideas. Maybe you want to be like Amanda and come in and say, I have a whole event. I've envisioned it. Why don't you just help me make it happen? That's what we're here to do. So we're also looking for event producers. And also I'm looking for and trainee AV lead, because one day Sam's going to be hit by a bus and we're going to need a secondary person to make things happen. That could happen too. I like your more optimistic take on it. It's not always about buses. So definitely talk to me if you want to get involved. We can find a role for you from just a light one to a heavy lifting, get super involved kind of role. Beep. And then I'm going to tell you about the amazing sponsors that help make this happen. First of all, if you're a nonprofit, charity, church, or library and you don't have a TechSoup account, you're almost certainly throwing your money away. All these nice things are in the TechSoup catalog, and you're going to find them from a 90% discount to a 50% discount. Beep. See, all these nice people. So say you want to do a whole bunch of webinars. Zoom, 50% discount for you. Say you want to make beautiful graphics. Adobe, you get yourself a nice 40% discount on things in the catalog there. Box is going to give you 10 free licenses until you die. It's all kind of amazing. Basically, we've saved about 1 million nonprofits, about $1 trillion in license fees. So check it out. The accounts are free. We're there as a nonprofit to take care of you. Beep. And remember we talked about the savings? This is just me modeling it out. This is for say you're a nonprofit with 10 staff. This is what you're going to save in year one. And a lot of these are then going to be savings in recurring years too when you come to upgrades. So the TechSoup deal is kind of ridiculous. Beep. And this place, this is called The Hive, and it's amazing. We've been here for several years. The Hive is, of course, on unceded Coast Salish territory, specifically Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. And they are good, like the Squamish are going to rock our world. Check the newspaper today for the plans in Kitsilano. It is going to be amazing. But yeah, like, you know, lots of respect to the people who are giving us this space after we took it away. They could have been a lot worse about it. Thank you. Next, please. Beep. Look at this. Right here is called the hot desking space, which means if you work from, say, home or from an office and you don't really like the people you work with, you've got great options, actually. You can come here, rent by the hour, and I've got free day passes. So if you want to check it out, you can figure out, like, what does it look like to have all the amenities of an office without the no fun parts of an office. They've got photocopiers, you know, reception, they'll accept your packages. Plus, they've got a shared kitchen so you can gossip with people in the middle of the day. Beep. See? And they like partying. You like partying. Beep. And there's also, of course, a whole bunch of smaller boardrooms. So say you just want to have a quick 2-hour meeting, people can take care of you there too here at the Hive. Beep. See? It's amazing. Again, talk to me. Hot desking passes. Beep. Other sponsors. So after this, we're all going to go out and get drinks. First round is on IATS payments. If you're a nonprofit and you accept money online, which all of you should, they have got a great solution to solve that problem, and they're based here in Vancouver. So if something doesn't go right, you can walk into their office and give them a little bit of sass, which is really nice. Beep. We're also sponsored by One Day Website, which makes sure that our website doesn't crash and keeps working, which I'm super grateful for. And N10 made sure that you have healthy vegetables and cookies because they're basically the membership organization for nonprofit techies. You go there for like all the research reports, the great conferences. It's your place to basically skill up as someone who works in technology and digital in nonprofits. Beep. And you could be a sponsor. It's true. If you want to talk to 3,300 nonprofit and techie for good inclined people, we've got that list. We've got that community. We've also got a conference with 250 nonprofit leaders every year. It's super fun. Come talk to me. Honestly, like, we're not that expensive. Beep. And now I get to get out of the way. So I'm super excited to pass it over to Amanda, who's actually going to be your host today, which means I don't have to be an expert about anything today because Amanda's going to run the show. It's going to make our lives super easy. But before I do that, and when I do, you're going to applaud and tell Amanda she's amazing. You're going to tell her that using this Twitter handle. What's going to happen at the end of this is I'm going to basically say you have up to 1 minute for a community update. So maybe you're looking to hire a new person into your organization. Maybe you've got a gala next week and you really want everyone to know about it. Maybe you just launched like a new project or website and you want everyone to see it. We're going to give you up to 1 minute to tell the world all about it. And as I said, at the end of this, we're going to go and go for drinks. And this is like going to be our next event. So let me move the slides back. And ladies and gentlemen, give it up. It's time for Amanda. Woo!
Hi, everyone. How are you doing tonight? I haven't had this microphone. I feel like I should be doing a bit right now, a comedy sketch. Can I get a scan of the room right now? Who here works in communications? Okay. Who here considers himself a fundraiser? Nice. Who here is a follower of these meetup groups and just comes and doesn't matter what the topic is? Hi. Yes. Okay. We've got fans. Who have I missed? Who is here and wanted to be here in a conversation around Giving Tuesday? Everybody. Okay, great. Okay, so my name is Amanda Burrows. I am a fundraiser. I am a fundraiser at a foundation called Social Venture Partners, and I typically go by a handle called Philanthropy Aid. I'm also the community organizer for Van Gives, which is a community organization group that falls under the Giving Tuesday Canada banner. And there are over 300 nonprofits that have identified with being part of this movement. And what is this movement? So what we're going to do this evening for about an hour is we're going to go through some items such as what is Giving Tuesday, why you should or should not do Giving Tuesday, how you can go about Giving Tuesday, and then some tactics and tips. And I'm going to invite some of our panelists up to join in the conversation with some examples about how they have participated in this movement. So this movement that we like to talk about, Giving Tuesday, which harnesses generosity, which I'll dig into a bit more, and really like encourages philanthropy. And whenever I start these conversations around philanthropy, I always start with this story. And I don't recognize many of you in this room today, so maybe you haven't heard it. And if you have, does anyone know literally what the word philanthropy means? If you do, shout it out. Yes. Does anyone know the very first time it was recorded in written history where we discovered this term? A Greek play called Prometheus Bound. And the origin of this word came from Prometheus was forbidden to give humans the ability to make fire, forbidden by the gods. And because that fire represented hope and it represented optimism. But he gave humans the ability to have the capacity to make fire themselves. And for that philanthropia, his philanthropic gesture, he was bound to a rock in perpetuity. So it's the very first time we recognize that word. I mean, it's come through a different historical, it has a lot of baggage these days sometimes, to be frank. But that's really, in my practice as a fundraiser, the foundation upon which that I practice is this idea of love of humankind. Sometimes it takes sacrifice. Not the savior sacrifice of coming in and helping other communities, but an actual discomfort sometimes of having to give up stuff so that we can have equity and equality in our communities. That's the foundation upon which then I believe fundraising emerges from. Stronger, healthy, self-determining communities. So what does Giving Tuesday have to do with all of this? So Giving Tuesday, what is Giving Tuesday? It is a global movement harnessing generosity that has calls to action to ask people to give their time, give their money, give their expertise, to perform small acts of kindness. We have different stakeholders that get involved, individuals, families, corporates, civic engagement. So many different people get involved with it. But when did it start and why did it start? It started, I guess now it's in its 9th year, at 92nd Street Y in New York. And it started because a group of folks in that community organization were sick and tired of the commercialization of this time of year. In the States, there's Thanksgiving on Thursday. Friday is Black Friday, major shopping. And then the weekend, and then Monday is Cyber Monday. So in a response to this consumerism, this idea, this hashtag activism was launched for a Tuesday to encourage generosity. So it's now, fast forward 9 years, last year over 150 countries participated in this movement. In the US alone, they claim to have raised $400 million on online giving just in the US. We have in Canada, actually, the Canada Helps rep just walked in. Hi, maybe you can tell us the stats of Canada and Giving Tuesday. Because I should say, actually, Giving Tuesday in Canada is really spearheaded by Canada Helps. Are people familiar with Canada Helps in here? It's an online giving platform. They really drive it forward with another foundation called Give Foundation. They really are the organizers that then get the community organizers within Canada, of which there are 40 of us. So many towns and communities have our own movements. And they really keep us organized and give us the assets and try and set us up for success to really build up this movement and make more people generous, encourage generosity. And here are some interesting things. Like, it's not just about money. 240 poinsettias were delivered to seniors in Oakville. Items like that. Small acts of kindness. We're just trying to encourage generosity. And then next. So why participate? These are some reasons. I don't think it's all about the money. And if you think it's all about the money, you're probably bound to be disappointed. So here are some other ways that I like to say, let's set ourselves up for success. Why are we going to participate? It can raise awareness for your cause, which is amazing. It can increase donations and your email lists. You can recruit volunteers. I like this one. It's try something new day. I always like to say we test things, right? This is a great way to great day to test stuff. It's a great reason to involve your supporters to help. And you can benefit from the global buzz, which last year had over 15 billion impressions using the hashtag #GivingTuesday. A word of caution, though. I always have a word of caution. This is something us fundraisers say a lot about being donor-centered. It's about the donor and not the donation. So some of the criticism about Giving Tuesday, there's a couple of criticisms, one of which is that this time of year is generous anyway. We need an activation like this in June or February, right? When giving isn't as much. Because the month of December, 34% of all gifts come in the month of December, 12% the last 3 days of the year. So it's already generous. Let's try and have movements in other times of the year. That's one. And the second one is that people are so concerned about getting money in so quickly that they forget to adhere to the philosophy of people aren't business transactions. They're humans, and we're trying to make connections because we're trying to make a change in the world together, right? It's not about the money, it's about what the money does, and we need to build out relationships. So if you do participate in Giving Tuesday with a financial focus, to not forget that it is a human on the other end of that is providing you money to help tackle a problem in your community. So with that, I'm gonna actually, it's all good. It's perfect. We'll leave that one up there in the back. I'm gonna invite our panelists up. We've got to talk more about how to get involved, what you can do, tactics and tips, etc. So we've got Chris Brandt. He is the founder of Charity Agency. He also founded Music Heals. We have Elizabeth Moffat, the Associate Director of Marketing and Communications at VGH and UBC Hospital Foundation, who also is a digital genius, I like to say, who came from SFU and Canucks Place. We have Rekha Pavanatha-Raja, the Director of Engagement and Development at Art Starts, who has been there for 9 years and uses creativity as an essential part of learning and the work they do. So let's give them a warm welcome. Thanks. Okay, first off, I like to ask, how do you get involved, or your organization, with Giving Tuesday, if you get involved? I mean, I invited them all here for this panel, so I think they do get involved. But yeah, I had eye contact with you first, Rekha. Yes.
Thank you. For us, it's been a bit of an evolution. I've been with Art Starts for 9 years, and I think our organization has participated in Giving Tuesday, I think, for the past 7 years. It's only in the past 3 years, including this one, that we are leveraging the movement with an actual event. So one thing that really stuck out when you spoke about not making it about a transaction and more about the person, the donor, I find that with an event, that's an opportunity to really connect with the person and to be able to offer a point of engagement and inspiration about your mission so that they feel inspired to give. Because I think that was one of the hardest aspects for participating in Giving Tuesday over the past years, where it was kind of in isolation. It was just online, web-based, and really it yielded under $500 worth of donations, and it largely came from, I would say, our board members and staff. So the big shift for us has been producing an event and really sort of jump-starting that as a way to connect people with our mission.
So where I am now at VGH, we use the opportunity to do an email match from one of our board members. So we get to do a match, plus we get to show one of our board members a lot of love. Where I've done previous campaigns, it was more, I think, about engagement, where the dollar amount was important. But I think just as important was taking the opportunity to show people who donated that day some extra love and to get new people, even if they didn't donate that day, even if they just gave an email or signed up for something.
I'm currently consulting with charities and not working for one specifically, so we're going to, there's a lot of can of worms to get into this whole conversation.
Real talk.
Yeah. The event aspect is great, and one of my companies I consult for helps facilitate that. I think I'm glad you explained the beginning of Giving Tuesday, because I think the original ethos of it was positive. I think it's gone sideways. I think a lot of things have taken the power out of Giving Tuesday. How many of you are like music fans and know what Record Store Day is? Anyone? Music nerds, please? Anyone? All right. So Record Store Day is one day a year. We have an industry who has even slimmer margins than charities, record stores, and they pick one day a year where they all have a sale. And every record store, it's now international, every record store around the world has a sale on the same day. So you can travel to Chicago, and if you know it's Record Store Day, you know the local stores are doing it. The industry got behind it, and the record labels started creating packages for that day. And cool labels like Jack White's label would create, 1,000 copies of this one piece of vinyl, and there's 1,000 stores, so they each get one. The idea was that it was a collective movement, not about give to me, which I think Giving Tuesday has transferred into, you need to give to us on Giving Tuesday. I think it's, if we go back to this original, what I assume is the original intent of give to anybody, like a high tide floats all boats. If everyone's sending the same message, just give to someone on Giving Tuesday, not give to me. With Record Store Day, the record stores individually tried to add value to it. I find that the charities try to take from Giving Tuesday, as opposed to, like, it's Giving Tuesday, you should be giving, which I know, like, you work for a charity, what the fuck are you doing the other 364 days of the year? You're used to giving back. But the record store model is each individual record store tries to add something of value to the collective day. And the charities, particularly in the last few years, have made it inward as opposed to supporting the overall thing. So that's rant number one.
Oh, is that rant number one? Okay, one of. You know what's interesting? Both of you, Chris and Reka, you both mentioned the events are good. And this is always what really fascinates me about Giving Tuesday, is it is an online hashtag global movement to bring communities together. It's meant to be on platforms of social media. However, so often I'm starting to hear the most successful Giving Tuesday campaigns are coming from when people are having their actual fundraiser on that day, and then still using social media platforms to promote it. Has anyone else done that before in here? Or can we think of another example where that happens with hashtagging social media platforms, where it's about your digital community, it's about bringing anyone together to your cause no matter where in the world?
Let's Talk does that very well.
And then they bring it, and then they have event, great example, and then they have an event to celebrate it. You have... That?
Bring everybody out from Twitter. For our charity, they raised almost $9,000 one year, so it was quite lovely. It was cool because you got to meet people that I see all the time online.
Oh.
It was lovely to actually connect with them in person, and I really love that.
And Miss 604 drove that locally.
Sorry, what was that called? Twitter?
It's called Twestival.
Twestival.
For us, it was 2009, so it's been a long time.
2009.
It was nice to just connect the online and offline community. We got to meet everybody offline, and I thought it was more of a community builder, and you got to build those relationships offline too.
Connecting online with offline. Fridays for Future. Interesting. So what does success look like? What does success look like? I'm going to ask Liz first. In Giving Tuesday, like, what would success look like to your staff and to your board?
I mean, for us where I am now, it does unfortunately, I think, mostly come to the donations. If you're thinking about, what number you can bring up to your board. but I think that you can still measure and celebrate. You should at least be measuring and celebrating a lot of other things, like new people that you're bringing in, engagement levels, more that kind of like soft numbers, even if ultimately your board wants to hear a dollar figure.
Anyone else want to take on what success looks like?
I think change the narrative. I think remove fundraising altogether from the day. I think one of the things that you could be most successful with is playing the long game and treat it as stewardship day. Particularly if your major donors are corporations. This doesn't work as well if your major donors are individuals or private foundations, but if they're corporations, playing on corporate social responsibility, starting now, identify your major donors and make an Instagram graphic, like a square thing with their logo. You know, on Giving Tuesday, we're proud to, you know, show our support for, and then put your logo for your charity. It's an opportunity for you to get free advertising. Corporations have no excuse to post on Giving Tuesday. Give them one. And if their followers learn about your charity from them, that means a lot more than you posting something on Giving Tuesday yourself. So I would treat it as stewardship day. We're not going to ask anyone for money. We're going to blow some sunshine up the butts of our major donors. But it's I mean, I say that facetiously, but it's of value to them, because it's whether it's to their staff to show that they're giving back that staff members might not know about, it's to their customers. Like we have our in-house charity, we have our favorite charity. On Giving Tuesday, this is who we've given to all year long, or on Jeans Day, or whatever event they gave to you during maybe it was last Christmas they gave you money, and this is your way to give them a chance to show off how they're supporting you. That in turn, if they get feedback from that, if they get 300 people liking that post and commenting, and good for you, they might go back into their board meeting going, we need to give more to them next year because they made us look good.
Yeah, I hear you on the stewardship piece. I think that's definitely a big driver for the event. I'll speak to the event because that's really what we focus on and do for Giving Tuesday. And it is the time for us to invite donors, for us individual donors in particular, to be able to thank and give an opportunity to see like our mission in action. We're an arts organization, so we always have something creative, arts focused to experience. And so, yeah, stewardship is huge, but also to ensure that we are opening up and building audiences through that process as well. So stewarding existing donors, inviting new folks to learn about who we are and what we do. And then I think this year we kind of made the decision that yes, we have a bit of a soft target in terms of what we'd like to reach, but the bigger part is actually thinking about bringing these folks into the pipeline so that we can actually now ask them to support us during the end of year fundraiser. Because for us, Giving Tuesdays, the jump is sort of the catalyst for the end of year campaign. And it's one of like appeal, which is like a way in which you achieve your target. And so I would say, yeah, we definitely think about stewardship and not just think about asking.
Oh, I like it. This is, y'all have remarked on that Giving Tuesday is a tool in the toolkit of your end of giving year campaign. Why I love Giving Tuesday is it's a date you can't hide from. I work with a lot of nonprofits that are under-resourced, and they have to be as efficient as possible and maximize all of their time. So putting all resources into this day that might be disappointing, they really have to think through how they can maximize it. And one thing I always recommend is it can be a jumping point. It's a day you can't hide from. It's like a gala. It has a set date. And then it launches you into the rest of your December end of year campaign. And then when you were saying you do like a fundraiser on that day, which is exciting. So then a couple of weeks later, they get more asks via digital or other ways outside of that Giving Tuesday date. So why should I love this question? This is what I always ask because I'm the community leader. And so I get everybody's stories to feed to the media, like I do the press for Giving Tuesday. So I'm like, tell me your stories. And I've pared it down to this thing. because people will tell me lovely things, but I'm like, this is what I want you to tell me. Why should I care, and what is the photo op? If you were going to do something on Giving Tuesday, why should I care as a potential friend, donor, volunteer, social media amplifier? Why should I care? It's a hard question.
I think the question is perfect in underlining the fact that the media needs stuff to talk about. The media wants to talk about you, particularly this time of year. As per your introduction, Giving Tuesday is attached to U.S. Thanksgiving weekend, which this year happens to put Giving Tuesday in December, which, as you said, is 34% of donations. Some charities, it's 50% in December. The media is looking for stories. You know, global television will pick 7 charities and focus on one a day for a week, usually in December. There's nothing to talk about in Giving Tuesday. Something that you and I talked about on a street corner of just like what would be cool ways for things is, and this doesn't work for every charity, but if you're a brick and mortar charity, if you're someone, I would assume, you know, with your organization in particular, be a lot harder at VGH, is the opportunity to invite people in and do something. If you're Giving Tuesday, imagine if there was, like the East Side Arts Crawl. Imagine if there was a charity crawl. If even 10 charities in Vancouver got together, we don't need 100. If 10 charities in Vancouver created a charity crawl on Giving Tuesday, the media would go nuts. You would get coverage on every single outlet in this city. They are looking for something to talk about. Now you've got to get creative. Is it, you mentioned an organization who built bikes in a day and we're donating them. And so you got to get creative what that thing is the public could possibly come in and do with your organization, whether it's working with the people that you serve. That's too wide of a brush for me to even guess what you could possibly offer. But if you have a brick and mortar location or someone that you work with, and took that to the media, we're one of 10 charities that want you to come by on Giving Tuesday and participate or build furniture or make pizzas that we'll deliver or whatever. The opportunity to hook the press in this town would be unparalleled, but I don't see anyone doing it.
That sounds like the job for the community organizer. Next year, coming to you next year. I think that's a great idea. And it would come back to, as an potentially under-resourced organization, what is the value of you participating in that? Because it might still not lead to donations that day. So again, this is where I encourage people to set out, what does success look like? If your email list is 100 email addresses and you were to try and do something that you can get a data capture and get 50 more email addresses or 100, that is a huge success, because now you can get them in your ladder of engagement and actually really start communicating with them outside of that day. This day is to get people in your pipeline and to build the ladder of engagement. And so a charity crawl like that would be phenomenal, and it would probably take some work. But what does success look like? Getting people and your brand out there a bit more, I think, is huge. So maybe stay tuned next year, 2020.
Honestly, if 3 of you talked to Amanda afterwards and did it, that would be enough for us.
That is true.
Like, do it this year if it's an easy engagement.
I love it. Okay, failures. Who here has a Giving Tuesday campaign that they wouldn't mind sharing that they feel like did not look like the success they wanted it to? Any takers? On our panel or in our friends out here. Yeah. Has anyone done a Giving Tuesday campaign?
I feel like Eli's looking at someone.
I know. What's the eye contact for over there? Oh, you do.
For me, Giving Tuesday this year is a rebirth, coming from the disaster. We actually had a president being removed from Visa Trust. Next morning, she and her sister took all our cash to the bank. And they are currently holding our social media hostage. So this is the time right now, we have a schedule where we can rename all of our handles, restart from scratch all of our messages, and do a rebirth. So that
So, Richard, are you coming out with us after our panel discussion with a whole bunch of people in this room? Maybe we can have a further conversation around how we can support that. Thanks for sharing. No, thank you for sharing. That was really vulnerable of you to share, and I'm sorry to hear that. But let's figure out some things for you moving forward. Thanks. Anyone else?
You seemed excited for it. Yeah,
Failure.
I can talk about failure just like a little bit outside of Giving Tuesday, because when I think about Giving Tuesday in particular, it's more related to small little failures that have created obstacles in order to achieve sort of the end goal. I'm grateful to be at an organization that really embraces failure, and we really appreciate the concept of like failing fast. And that's where thinking about the small failures is helpful. Just actually currently with this year's event, we kind of had a mini failure in landing a venue. Landing a venue, we solved it, but the failure created a little bit of a fury of like just trying to figure out what to source and potentially changing dates, et cetera, and as a result, we actually landed at a venue that is even better. And it suits the environment and the sort of, the experience that we were hoping to capture actually with this option is so much better. But I just wanted to use that like small example of thinking about failing fast, and that's something I learned in like design thinking, even because it allows you to iterate, using that concept to apply it back to like the design of what you're trying to produce. When you do encounter failures very quickly, you're able to recover faster, and often what you're trying to produce is even better. So yeah, I just wanted to offer that as just sort of a overview versus just thinking about like a really big failure outside of what I endured just recently this week. But yeah, that's what I'd have to say about failure.
Oh, I have a failure story I can add. Of course I do. I have a failure story as being the community leader for Van Gives. I think it was a year or two ago. As the media spokesperson, I collect stories and feed it and have press releases, do stuff, and I get a lot of support to do that. And I was watching the news, so excited that someone had to have picked up one of our amazing, what we call activations. What's going on that day? What's your campaign? What's your activation? And as I was watching, there was like this amazing activation. I can't even remember. It was that amazing. I can't remember it. But I was like, who in this city did that without me knowing? And I was like, one, that's amazing, because you can't really harness movements, right? That's such a compliment if they're just like expanding outwards, right? But I was like, as I started watching further, I went, that's from like the AP wire. It's a New York thing. There's so much happening in Vancouver. So I was frustrated in our local media, but not to because they're under-resourced. So this isn't a criticism on that, but just in a way that then helped the next year how I approached, again with relationships. Spoiler alert, not everyone's going to open a press release from someone they don't know if they don't feel like they have that photo op hook in it. And I needed to really hustle and build those relationships and call them myself to get more of a focus on actual local activations that were happening that I know the media would care about. They're just under-resourced as well. So that was one of my learnings from that. Did you have one? No, it's okay.
Just in general, I think it's important to keep in mind that the timing of it connected to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, a lot of people don't have money come Giving Tuesday. Like everyone's spent their disposable income in the 4 days leading up to it. Leading into December, where then people shift into making their gifts. But I think there's probably everyone in the room probably has stories of not hitting their financial goals for Giving Tuesday, and I think shifting it to a non-financial goal is the opportunity. It's a day with so much noise that to plan, again, as you said, it's one of the things in the toolbox. If it's a big fundraising day for you, you're in trouble. But the opportunity to create stories traditional marketing says that people need to see something 8 times before they recognize the logo or the catchphrase or the packaging or whatever. No one, obviously, no one gives to charities they've never heard of. It's your chance, if people need to see something 8 times before they donate to you, Giving Tuesday might be one. And now they've heard of you. They've removed the who. Like, it's the long game. When you get to 8, they might make a donation. It might be 8 for somebody, but it's just getting another single off. The people of just removing the people who don't know about you kind of day.
Do you have a favorite example of one? It doesn't have to be one you created or participated in, but even if you have seen one globally.
I loved what I saw. I think it was United Way Calgary did last year. Is they did a match campaign, except it wasn't like we'll match your money. We'll give you $20 from whoever our matcher is, and you get to pick which area. So it's United Way, so they have like senior support and early education and teens and stuff like that. So they were using it clearly more as like an email acquisition thing, and to basically tell all these new people about them and sort of all the work they do and find out what they were interested in. And I thought it was just a really smart use of the day and of the match.
They gave away money?
Well, they let you got like $20 to give back to them, essentially.
So
yeah, you got to
cool.
pick where to put it, though.
I love it. Canada Helps did that before. Gave out $3 gift cards to folks. Woo! Yay! Because people usually chip in more than $3. It's a $3 gift card. You had some of those a couple years ago.
We did.
Yeah, at your event.
Chimp did that last year, $10.
Okay.
Same sort of card.
Encouraging giving. Anyone else have a favorite example? Anyone else out here have a Giving Tuesday favorite example? Oh, I have many. I'm going to tell a local one. There was, again, this whole idea of bringing these digital movements into physical spaces to really connect with each other in that way is Science World did one year where they had a free night and they had this epic long lineup to get in for free. The other year, one I really liked was the Stanley Park Eco Society. I got that name wrong. I'm sorry, Stanley Park. Is that they have a program where they build bird boxes together, and they decided to do that activation, that item, on the literal day of Giving Tuesday. And it got so much attention, and people were so thrilled. And they didn't raise much money, but they got in the media, it elevated their brand, and people knew a little bit more of what was happening in Stanley Park. There's been partnerships. Oh, I love collaboration. And again, I'm going to use the word media. They do too. Was when Ballet BC sold discounted tickets. If you bought one, they then gave one to a partner child organization who typically wouldn't be going to the ballet or be able to afford it. So that was an exciting activation to see as well. So items like that, right? Those are ones that pick up some momentum for that day. And bear in mind, none of those made money, and those were deemed incredibly successful. Okay, so this is the big one. How do you prepare for Giving Tuesday? How do you prepare? Like, what do you do before? What do you do the day of? And then what we should do after? Go for it. You got it.
Honestly, I've always kind of prepared for it just like you would any other campaign. I mean, it's all the same things, like getting a plan and getting all your assets together and figuring out what you want to do and what your goals are going to be. I do think it's an opportunity to have more fun with those things, but in terms of planning, it's about the same. I do think that it tends to, I guess, get a lot more attention because it is at the beginning sort of the season, as opposed to things like at the end, like year-end giving doesn't tend to get the same amount of planning, at least where I've worked before, which is probably unfortunate because more comes in then anyways. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it takes up pretty much the same amount of energy as thinking about our year-end campaign, especially when there's an event involved. Yeah, it ends up being a little bit of a mini campaign on its own, because there is the component of like the web-based content. We are planning to do about, I think, 6 emails that are staggered leading up to Giving Tuesday and on Giving Tuesday, as well as Thank You Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because there's a little bit of the preamble of like getting our audience to understand what Giving Tuesday is, as well as kind of building the narrative around our organization and mission, and then the thank you. So yeah, we have about 6 messages planned, including the actual event. And so there's a lot of prep work involved in, yeah, like you said, it's equally the same amount of energy that goes into preparation.
Follow up on that. What is your call to action in your emails? What are you trying to get your audience to do?
The first
in the lead up.
Yeah, the first 2 is the invitation to attend the event.
Okay.
That's the call to action. And then on the day of is to be able to donate. And then after is, it's a thank you for those who have donated. And then we kind of still do a soft ask for those who haven't donated.
Nice. And so for the panel who are participating in Giving Tuesday this year, have you already finished your plan? That is because I want to give everybody in this room who potentially wants to participate that you have time. What was I teaching I was teaching a year-end campaign the other day, and the statistic is in a year-end campaign, and I typically suggest campaigns no longer than 6 to 8 weeks, so the winter one to not go before November, is that not even 60% of charities, like no one's planned their end-of-year campaigns for the most part, the majority. So I did it on October 30th. Said, guess what? 60% of nonprofits don't have their year-end plan either. That's not really like best practice, but we're all in this together. We're trying to do our best. There is still always time to come up with a thoughtful plan if you still have a month out. That was off the record. Okay. Any other tips about planning? Like, I mean, when do you, things like, oh, I have a failure. I wanted to do a matching campaign. This is supposed to be the magic bullet, right? If you have a matching campaign at the end of the year or on that Giving Tuesday, you statistically raise 74% more. So this seems to be everybody wants to have a matching donor, especially on Giving Tuesday. And I felt like I dropped the ball. I didn't get one the first time, I don't know, 8 years or so ago, 7 years ago. I didn't get a matching major donor in time to, I feel like, really maximize trying this out, maybe 6 years ago. And so that felt like a failure, because that actually takes a bit more time, trying to get a matching donor to really honor their time and the whole donor cycle, which is a whole other conversation. So you don't want to just, again, treat them as a business transaction. It's someone you've cultivated all the year, and you want them to do a matching campaign for your Giving Tuesday activation. That might need a little bit more lead time, just saying. But you still got time.
The stat about people giving more when there's a matching donor, there's another stat that I think it's over 100% more will come if people know that another donor has paid for the admin. So if you can focus Giving Tuesday or Thank You Thursday or whatever on, you're going into December with, thanks to this group, if you have someone that covers your admin or part of it, people go into December going, so if I give you 100% of I know we want to get away from the 100% goes to programs. I know. But if you have someone who's covering your admin, to be able to release that message at the time that people are thinking, wow, 100% of my donation will go to programs because X is paying for their admin, you've planted the seed right at the perfect time. And then just back to preparation in advance. If you are doing the stewardship model, I would pick 3 images so that not everyone's getting the same one. Look at your donors if they're corporate. We were lucky at Music Heals with just how candid our donors were. Who would say to us bluntly, we give these great organizations, but they suck at telling the world they're getting the money from us. Like, okay, great thank you for telling me that your motivation. There's 87,000 plus charities in Canada. Ask Canada Helps. They know, they got the list. some are motivated just by how good you make them look. So to be able to provide, if that's your goal for Giving Tuesday, we want 5 of our donors to share this image that we've created for them on Giving Tuesday. So create 3 images now in the next week or so. Plop in their logo, plop in your logo, contact them with weeks in advance. Hey, do you want to post this on Giving Tuesday? Just not asking for anything. We've created the image for you. If you don't use it, that's cool. And just set a goal of that many people posting on their channels that they support you on that day. It's one day of graphic design work and a bunch of conversations after that to plant the seeds.
What's your favorite tool, panel? What's your favorite tool that you like to use for Giving Tuesday? What are your tools? What do you use? Direct mail? Do you phone people? Do you tweet? Do you Instagram stories? What are the things?
I guess my favorite year that I did it, we did a lot of video stuff. So we made personalized thank you videos for everyone who donated that day. So my phone and YouTube.
Yes. Oh, nice. Phone and YouTube. You like events. My favorite tool is partnerships. I have many. I love them all. Partnerships with a company. I do have to say that Giving Tuesday is an amazing time of year to engage the corporate community. It typically can meet their strategic philanthropic goals, brand awareness, a lot of potential traffic. They like the stats of the impressions of the hashtag. 14 billion is Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday CA is not that many, but a lot. And this is a great time also that I invite a corporate sponsor in to triple match on that day. There's different tactics that I use on the actual Tuesday. If you donate, if you go into that grocery store, you're partnered with Whole Foods. If you do this, they give back that. And it's an actual, a real big day that I put a highlight on a corporate sponsor. That is what success looks like to me in stewarding a sponsor who you already have as a sponsor and highlighting their brand. We've used this term stewardship quite a bit up here. Is everybody familiar with this term? Yeah? This is how I define in the donor cycle after someone makes a gift, before they make their next gift, we as fundraisers like to steward them. And I define that stewardship as we like to engage, thank, recognize their gift, and report back the impact of their gift. Not in necessarily an onerous annual report, but a simple email saying, your $1,000, your $10 did this, thank you, have a nice day. That to me is stewardship. And then, anyway, partnerships, one of my favorite tools. So any hot tips for the folks here before I open it up for questions? What is your best takeaway advice to the group here today?
I would say do something.
It's a hot tip.
Yeah, I think that it's a day where kind of, especially in the charity space, it's a day where people are sort of aware and looking. So whether it's stewardship, whether it's something that you want to give back or actually leverage it as an opportunity to engage your community or actually fundraise, do something. It doesn't have to be as extensive of a campaign. It doesn't have to be a full-blown event, but the years where I recall us, the first 4 years, we just followed sort of the process that the toolkit offered and did the van gives, the image on social media. And even though it didn't yield more than $300, it still got our board and staff to actually consider giving. And that was a little bit of a jump start. And they end up entering into the pipeline of your donor cycle. So yeah, it's better than doing nothing, I would say.
I'd say have fun. People can tell when you're enjoying yourself and being authentic about it. And also don't tire yourself out too much about it, because there's still a whole nother month of fundraising to go till year end. I
would prep your board now. because chances are you're going to have a board member the week after go, did you know it was Giving Tuesday? I would prep them now, and that it's not about you. It's a day for you to be giving, even if it's just a business opportunity, sort of playing on what you were saying of if you have any partners, any donors that have a brick and mortar business, send business to them for the day, and maybe they'll give you $1 off the nachos if it's a restaurant, or they'll call one of their beer reps and see if they can get a free keg that they can then give $1 off of a pint of whatever or a bottle of whatever for the day. Spend the day driving attention to somebody else, and maybe the thing you're prepping in advance is tent cards to go in their store or poster or whatever. It's your day to gain much more in the long run than to stress about making $300 in a day.
Thanks. So let's open this up. I think we've got 10 to 12 more minutes. Questions? Yes.
Here you go. Talk in the rough direction of the mic.
Sure. This is the first time that we are going to be doing Giving Tuesday. I work at a nonprofit school, Kenneth Gordon Maplewood School in North Vancouver. And we partnered with Anytime Fitness, actually, which is a fitness place right by our, and I just contacted you, I think, yesterday or something. But yeah, and so they're like right by us. So our entire community knows both of us. And I was just wondering what you might suggest for getting people to want to come to the event, because I think my worst fear is these personal trainers are ready. We're going to be offering 4 classes to the event, and a big fear is are people going to come and be excited? So what would you suggest for getting our community, our parents, as well as just anybody else and donors even interested, but like you're saying, even just focusing not on the money but on the media and the attention?
The media needs stuff to talk about. I just advise everyone, don't be afraid of the media. The media is begging for something to talk about that doesn't have the word Trump in it. So don't be afraid of letting them know a week in advance that this is what's happening. So it's free training sessions for the day?
Yeah, it's by donation. So the donations will go to Kenneth Gordon. Okay. But they're offering the classes for by donation classes. So.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, you can talk about it for the weeks leading up to it. Start talking about it now. Start planting the seed.
Right.
Corporate social responsibility has become so huge. And understanding the donor. People want to feel good about the money they're already spending. It's one thing to ask someone for a donation, but I was going to go work out that day anyways.
Right, yeah.
Or I was going to go to the climbing wall, and instead maybe I'll go to that gym. People want to feel good about the money they're already spending. You've given them an opportunity to do their workout there. The risk of not talking is that no one knows you exist.
Right.
So the worst thing you can do is not share it. But plant those seeds now. People might need a couple weeks to hear about it, to get in there. The media is going to want the photo shoot. Is there a trainer at the studio or the owner of the studio that's not shy about being on camera? There's no guarantee you're going to get it, but that's your goal.
Yeah.
Is to have them talk about that. And an interview with you is not as important as an interview with the business of why are you supporting this charity.
Mm-hmm.
So give them all of the spotlight.
Right.
And that's a chance for them to promote their business that day. And if it goes well, they're going to have you back and do this quarterly.
Right.
What's your name? Sorry again?
Kenneth Gordon Maplewood School. And and we've partnered with Anytime Fitness.
And your name is?
Kayla.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Oh, so many opportunities in what you're doing with that activation. 2 things I hear. One, getting people there, which I'm going to speak into in a second. But the second piece is it's not only just getting people there to get a free or by donation workout. It's that if you're partnering with Anytime, I'm assuming other customers are coming to the gym that day too, right? So it's being able to build out your brand that day, the whole day, and to data capture. So regardless of the people that are taking you up on your specific offer and actually came for that, who are the hundreds of other people that are going to come through that door that day that you can actually get them excited about? Enter to win a month free at Anytime Fitness if you sign up for your charity's email. There's ethics around making that ask. And then you could potentially, how big is your email list now? Putting me on the spot. Few hundred. Okay. So if you got 100 people, I don't know how many people attend each day. But like Black Friday lasts all month now, Giving Tuesday can last a week or 2 weeks. You can have this activation for a long time. Success to me in that activation is having help getting people into your pipeline by doing something like that. But the other piece is getting people to your actual event that you're kind of branding to get these folks out. Is if you have a list of a few hundred people, it's going to take actual like work. It's not going to be an e-blast that's going to get them all in. It's going to have to be you following up directly, and it's going to have to get you getting your allies and influencers deployed and your board to call people and be responsible for getting people out to that event. This doesn't all fall on you, one person. You have to have help and amplifiers to get people there. But don't miss out on the opportunity of the data capture with other customers coming through the door that have never heard of you.
Do you have shirts for your org that you could give to the trainers that they can post in the month leading up on Instagram? Like, hey,
great activation.
Tuesday, I'm going to do one of the free sessions at 2 o'clock. Like, give them the opportunity to promote you now.
Anyone else?
Do we have to be sleeveless?
I saw your hand. I saw your hand. And I mean, it's a chain, right? Franchised. Contact the other ones too.
Well, if this goes really well, they'll tell all the other chains. This might be a province-wide initiative for you next year. There's your goal.
Next year, you're going to tell me your list has 1,500 people, and I'm going to jump up and down.
Hey guys, so I'm Wes. I'm from Big Brothers of Greater Vancouver. This is my first Giving Tuesday campaign that I'm running. So I just wanted to ask about general philosophy on like quantity of emails to send out to your different audiences, because it's already all segmented out of who I want to speak to. But let's say like the month leading up to Giving Tuesday, what's general philosophy on that?
It really depends what works for you and how many emails you're sort of already sending and how you're already, I guess, kind of like talking to your audience. We do the first one about a week out, and then we do one the day before. We do 2 or 3 the day of, and then we do a thank you on Thursday. Yeah, that's all I really have. As long as you have something to actually say in each one and they sort of build on each other. It's not so much about the amount of emails for me. What I like to do, especially for Giving Tuesday for emails, is to mix them up a bit. So instead of doing them all, like the nice, clean, marketing branded, your big banner up there, is to make sure at least 1 or 2 of them are more personal, even if you're not actually, emailing those people personally. Have like a plain text email, because especially on Giving Tuesday when your inbox is just like literally full of asks, it helps it stand out a little bit, and then you can see it comes across more of a follow-up, which doesn't feel like a whole nother ask as opposed to what another marketing looking email would be. I hope that makes sense.
I love that data hack. I love the follow-up, the personal follow-up. I don't think there's such thing as too many if you do it with intention. Like, there's 24 hours in a day. This is one of 24. Well, I was going to say, if you want, I get this question daily, how many emails is too many for everything and anything? And I'm like, a Democratic primary campaign is too many emails if you follow any of those campaigns. They literally are like 5 a day. But in regards to like how many, like you do everything with intention and with a strong call to action, and like throughout the day you're going to hear from us. And even if someone gave you money, keep them in the pipeline. You just have to segment them out into a different list that is like, thank you for that gift this morning. This is how close we are getting to our goal. If you have like a financial 10K target that day or something, you keep them. It's a stewardship tactic to keep them in your comms that whole day, because you want to build momentum. And typically people will give again because they want to get you to your goal. And you're making specific asks, $50, 10K. You're trying to get to 10K. You have a 10K match, chip in $50. Over and over. Thanks for chipping in $50. We're almost there. Here's your hourly update. No one has the resources to do hourly updates, so don't worry. I'm just kind of being facetious.
I'm curious to know how many people you've seen do multiple times.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know the statistic on that. So the question was, how many times does one person give multiple times on one day? Is
From your
anecdotally,
experience?
I would, if you're doing a Giving Tuesday campaign over 3 days, which happens a lot, like a door crash, you know, I'm not kidding. Like a lot of sales extend a long period of time. Some folks' giving campaigns are like actually 3 days, start the day before, like a door crasher. People do give multiply over days, like a lot of people do. I would say a quarter of your list will chip in again if they're still getting the emails again, right? But so often we take them out because they've already given them to us, and then they don't hear from us again about the momentum that's building in our campaign. So, but I don't know actually the same day. Somebody try it this year and let me know. Thanks. Anyone else have a?
That scares the hell out of me. The amount of people.
Someone's unsubscribing from my list.
Yeah, the amount of emails I unsubscribed after the election was over locally. Google Seth Godin permission asset. Seth Godin is the best marketing writer out there, and he talks about the permission asset, which is this idea of every time you send somebody something, you are earning permission to send something else. Your asset is that you've entertained them, you've educated them, whatever the value is defined by whoever you're sending it to. So think of the emails that you get and what value you get from them. They're funny, they're whatever. As soon as you lose that permission asset, they unsubscribe. So I don't like the ticking of the box of we're going to send 5 emails. How are you going to make email 2 better than email 1 and email 3 better than email 2? Because you're going to lose permission to hit these people at Christmas time. If you're just doing it by number, if your next email is we're celebrating the people that have committed, like if it's corporate, you know, these people are now on board for our Giving Tuesday event and this business is now on board, like that's showing momentum. I think it's awesome that you had 25% people give twice in the 3-day span. I think when you look at communications as a wider thing, on Twitter, people flipping through Twitter, maybe look at the last hour. So you could post conceivably 24 times in a day and someone would see 1, maybe 2 of them. You did 24 times on email, they're going to come to your door. 24 times on Facebook is too many. The answer is different across every channel. The bar is a lot lower on some than it is on others. So that becomes part of the stress for every communication that you're doing, whether it's you're selling tickets to your gala or it's Giving Tuesday or whatever you're doing.
And you all have capabilities of sending a note to somebody who hasn't opened your email, right? It's a whole other approach, right? They haven't opened it.
I think it's a little bit of, it's a bit of a mixed bag because we did establish that like it takes 8 touch points before somebody's like willing to give. So we just ran a campaign back in September, which had I think about 13 messages over the course of 6 weeks, and our unsubscribe was like 0.4%. It was quite low because the messaging was really robust and there was like a lot of engagement, and we really saw the percentage of the click rates were really high as well. So I think it really depends on like what type of content you're putting out there and what your mission is and how you're asking. But yeah, it's tough because knowing that it takes 8 times before somebody, or whatever the number is, before somebody actually wants to give. I've got feedback just from this past campaign saying, thank you so much for like reminding me again. So like after the 4th message, they actually like followed and kept with us. And then after the 4th message, they're like, oh yes, okay, thank you for reminding me. Thanks, Reka, like I'm doing the thing right now. And then a donation comes through. So yeah, I think it's a bit mixed. It depends on your content. So like, I mean, Amanda's a little, we kind of argue over content because Amanda likes it cut and dry, and I'm like, no, it has to have a narrative and
dry.
Yeah, and so, yeah, that's what I could offer. It's a bit mixed. You do have to balance the needing to get their attention, but also not overwhelming them and losing them.
Anyone else? We have 1 minute.
Mic coming at you.
Hi there, I'm Sky. I'm curious to hear a little bit about your segmenting tactics as well in getting new donors in the door versus approaching existing and retention.
Confession time. Our segmentation is awful. We know it, and it's a technical limitation for us right now. Ideally, yes, you'd be talking to people who haven't donated differently than people who are already monthly givers, different from people who donated to peer-to-peer fundraising events. I think in everything that you do, you'd be segmenting them. But yeah, just in case anyone else is feeling bad about it, we're awful at it.
Segmentation. What organization are you with? Oh, you do a partnership. You do a Giving Tuesday. Don't you? Okay, okay, it was someone else last year. Yay, welcome. Okay, I love segmenting. You can segment in Excel as well, right? If you have some sort of criteria that can distinguish what your segment is and sort that way. So you don't need a fancy CRM, although they're amazing. And when it comes to a Giving Tuesday campaign that has a financial goal attached to it, I definitely segment between a renewal segment, like a current donor, and other ways that I have people in my database. And who are those people that live in my database? They came to an event, they bought a ticket, et cetera, and so forth. They get an ask for sure. I call it an acquisition ask. Pardon? Yeah. Oh, we know your colleague. But everybody, if that's my campaign, our campaign, they're all getting a financial ask. But if I'm trying to build engagement and increase our email list and drive people to our website, different ask with my segmentation. Like, it's a greater universe. Like, how is your tactic trying to get people involved in the pipeline that way? Yes, you were wanting to ask a question earlier. Yes.
Rewrite the tweet for them, so all they have to do is cut and paste, give them the photo, give them the link, make it so all they have to do is grab it and give them, tell them times. Is it important to you what time they post it? Tell them that. Some of them will be savvy enough to just open up their Hootsuite, pop it in tomorrow, and then it's done. Some of them will be freaking out and calling you the day of because they don't know how to work Instagram and want to put it up there. But yeah, just make it so all they have to do is cut and paste. And if you have a group, you can remind people without pissing off your entire email list, people who have opted in to receive those kind of messages.
Yeah, just because I find sometimes people are happy to share, and they may not be quite ready to give, or they may not be financially able to, but they really want to help, they believe in the cause. And if they can spread that within their networks, especially online, that's one of the beautiful things about it. So.
And your messaging may change depending on the channel. Like with Twitter, you get a much shorter message. So if you want to give people the option, want to share your Facebook page? Post this. Want to share to Twitter? Post this. So you can give them that so they have the choice.
Yeah, it sounds like you're already doing it pretty much exactly right. I think also make sure that you reward the people who are actually doing it, whether you're retweeting it or liking it or however else.
Oh. Yeah, schedule everything that you're doing so that you can spend the day just hitting retweet and reacting to everyone else.
It's a great call to action. And who are you sending it to? You're sending it, like I would recommend, to your volunteers. It's such a great activation for a volunteer. People want to feel involved, and to not only, I call it social media amplifiers, allies, influencers, to join the list of that and how powerful that is. Again, what does success look like? If you had 1,000 engagements on a post, That's not going to bring in money. Someone's not going to jump the queue and all of a sudden give you money, but that's so successful because you want to try and then convert them into getting them on your email list. My favorite thing. My favorite thing. Anything else? I think we're good. I was just going to say I have a deck that has laid out steps 1, step 2, perfect magic bullets, how many emails to send, when to start sending them, that we can circulate after this too. And then my contact information is there. I have, for people in this room, time for one-on-one follow-up half-an-hour chats about your campaign in particular, and just be a coach and a soundboard for you. Thanks, panelists, for coming. Yay! You have stuff.
Thanks so much,
Don't you do
Amanda.
stuff?
That was lovely. So, remember I promised that you were going to have to do some work? Well, now it's time for you to deliver on that. So yeah, actually I'm about to turn the screen on and I don't want to blind my poor panelists, so I'll send you back home. And I will keep this one, we'll kill that one. Perfect. So many chords. Everything is gonna work beautifully. Turning itself slowly on. So remember when I promised you 1-minute update homework? Well, that time is now. So here's the deal. What you're gonna do is you're gonna come up here, you're going to give your name, and then you're gonna get 1 minute to tell people about the amazing thing you're doing or need. I will be here like a jerk with a watch, timing you to 1 minute. I'll give you a dirty look after 60 seconds. Maybe you'll be faster, and we'll have room for more people. But it's going to be super fun. It's going to be fast-paced. And do not be shy. Apparently, I don't know how to hit buttons. How present. There we go. The non-shiny button. So I'll model it for you. It's going to go like this. Hi, my name is Eli, and I'm one of the co-organizers of Net2Van Vancouver. We're starting to plan out our series of events for the coming year, and we're looking to bring on a couple new event producers into the team, people who can come and basically play the Amanda role, put together a panel and like lead one topic through the year. We'll be here to backstop all the other things, the meetup, all the event planning. Your job is to be the fancy person out front, putting it all together. Et voila, like that. So if you're interested in participating in this, you need to come right up here to the front. We'll create a little queue and we'll fire things up. And if you need me to bring up a website in the meantime, I got fast little fingers and we'll make that happen for you. So I know you're all doing interesting things. I know some people are planning events. Maybe you should come up here and invite people to participate in that great event. Model it for us. Come, come, come. Woo! There you go.
Okay.
Where can I find you? Where can I find more info?
Artstarts.com. We haven't. You can see our mission. I'm totally
There you
in
go.
the way.
So, it's your turn.
Okay. Hi again. My name is Reka. I'm with Art Starts in Schools. As you've heard, I'm planning an event on December 3rd. We are so excited to host an evening of singing together as we explore creativity within all of us. It's a night that will have wine, nibbles, and the amazing Vanessa Richards, for anybody who knows her. Yes, she runs a choir, a free choir for the community, and it's been on hiatus, but guess what? We've been able to work with her to create a beautiful evening of coming together as community. And that's our Giving Tuesday event.
Sounds amazing. Nice work. All right. Who else has got something super cool to share? Or maybe you're new in town and you're just like looking for someone to work with. Anyone else got a thing? Come on, shy friends. Come on up. Come on up. Do the quick intro and off you go.
Can I get you to just Google Big Brothers of Greater Vancouver volunteer opportunities? Hi again. My name is Wes. I work for Big Brothers of Greater Vancouver. My role primarily focuses on marketing and volunteer recruitment. So although this isn't related to Giving Tuesday, it's more on volunteering. I'm sure most of you have heard of Big Brothers, but to give a bit of context about what we do, we facilitate child and youth volunteer-led mentorship programs. Most of the programs we're looking for volunteers for are for those 18 and above. If you want to scroll down a little bit, there's a quick little synopsis of what we do. Most of you have heard the Big Brother program. It's 2 to 4 hours once a week for a year. But there's also some short-term programs for throughout the school year, and one that I volunteer in called Game On. That's 8 weeks. So if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch.
Lovely. Awesome. Thank you. Sweet. Come on up. Come on up. What do you want me to have?
Beautynight.org would be great. Hi, I'm Caroline McGillivray, and I'm the founder and executive director of Beauty Night Society. What we do is provide programming to build self-esteem and changing the lives of women and youth living in poverty. And we've been doing this for years. It's actually coming up to our 19th anniversary. So, woohoo! And we've done over 78,000 makeovers as a way to reintroduce touch to people who've experienced violence and reconnect them to community. What my ask is we are looking at just trying to increase our volunteers for helping for communications, fundraising, and as well as that, because we're also adding another chapter doing the makeovers as well for seniors who are dealing with dementia. So that's going to be our next chapter. So if you know anybody, please send them our way. Thank you.
Anyone else got a project on the go? Come on up.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin. We just recently registered a nonprofit and are in the process of getting a charitable status just a few weeks ago. So having said that, we're relatively new. We need all kinds of help. Justice Network is the nonprofit, and we have lots of opportunities, so you can probably go take a look at that. So if you're in fundraising but you need experience in a different aspect of nonprofit organizations, please reach out to us. We need help. We're literally at the foothills of a very great movement on improving justice delivery and human rights records around the world. We're doing lots of stuff on technology side using data science, machine learning, and also we need help with obviously fundraising and stuff. So I'm going to stick around and pick your brains after, but please reach out. We need a lot of help in our nonprofit. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, who wants to come next? That's Joel. What do you want me to have?
I don't worry about it. How about it for Amanda and the amazing panelists again? I just want to say thank you. That was really awesome. My name is Joel Harrison, and I'm working on starting a new podcast, actually. And so the podcast is going to be focused on interviewing social entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders, and change makers. And I'm interested in talking to people that are at the forefront of making some kind of change, whether it's in their nonprofit, maybe they're the executive director, maybe they're starting a new nonprofit. And I want to share really unique stories, and I want to share the successes and the wins and the struggles, and just help build that community up of people who are really making change. So if you know of anyone, or if you are interested in being interviewed on my upcoming podcast, I'm hoping to launch within the next kind of 3 to 4 weeks. And come find me. I'm Joel. Thanks.
You guys are going lightning fast. I bet we have room for 2 more people. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Kayla. As I mentioned, we're for Giving Tuesday. First of all, I work at Kenneth Gordon Maplewood School, which is a school that helps kids who have dyslexia, autism, ADHD, anxiety, and other learning-based learning difficulties and challenges. We're a K-12 school. We're nonprofit. And we are doing a fitness event with Anytime Fitness on Giving Tuesday, as I mentioned. We're really excited about it. It's our first time. And we're also trying to get the word out about our school to people around Vancouver and North Vancouver. We're located in North Vancouver. but we take students from all over. We had a student from Saskatchewan. But a lot of these kids come in and they've learned how to read for the first time, and they're at a lower level reading for what they should be at. And it's really inspiring. They're all very inspiring kids. So if you know somebody or anybody who might, benefit from coming to our program, let them know about us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, Jean.
Hi everyone, my name is Jean. I'm one of the co-organizer with the team here. And my day job is with Peace Geeks. Ian, my teammate, is here today. I recruited him last month, introduced him to Net2Van, and he came back today. So that's awesome. He's one of our developers. So Peace Geeks is a nonprofit tech. We have an office here at the back at the Hive. One of the projects that we do is Arrival Advisor. We won a 2017 Google Impact Challenge grant to create an app that helps refugees and immigrants to find settlement services in BC. We partnered with BC 211 Directory Service as well as BC Newcomers Guide. So exciting news that we can share is that we have been selected as one of the top 3 finalists for the UX for Good category. So there is a demo day where people have the opportunity to vote for People's Choice Awards. So you have to be there. So it's this Thursday. If you're free, you want to check us out and check out the other UX designers at the table. You can check their website. It's Fan UX Award. You can just Google that and you can see all the finalists from this year. Yeah, and if you want to chat more about the app or Peace Geeks, let Ian and I know. Thanks.
Come on up.
Hey, my name's Chris. One of my clients is a local ticketing agency called Event Chain, and you will get in your follow-up email an offer that they're doing if you do decide to do a Giving Tuesday event. They are much like an Eventbrite kind of platform. They will waive all fees for a Giving Tuesday event. Doesn't need to be on Giving Tuesday. The code, which is just simply Giving Tuesday 2019. Again, this will be in your email coming from Eli as a follow-up. If you're doing an event, and furthermore, there's a nonprofit program and more opportunities to help nonprofits with any ticketing that you're doing for event-wise to help you keep more of that money. I'm probably going to take off quickly after this because I have 1-year-old twins and my wife will kill me if I'm out late. Eli knows full well. So any questions about that or anything else, Chris at charityagency.ca, or just find Charity Agency on all the social media channels.
Great. Nice. Thank you. And one last one. Here we go. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Here. Woo! Quick intro because they don't know you.
Amanda already introed me, but I'm Tamara. I'm from Canada Helps. I'm based here. I'm the only one outside of Toronto that is with Canada Helps. So I'm here to support charities of all sizes. We create fundraising tools and make them as barrier-free, as affordable as possible. We co-launched Giving Tuesday several years ago along with Give3. And yeah, I'm at my emails tomorrow are at canadahelps.org if you want to reach me. But yeah, thanks for the great panel. It was awesome.
Woo! It's right in there in the name. Canada Helps. Perfect. Well then, thank you. But of course, it's not actually over. We're going to keep you up late, even though it's a school night. So, here's the deal. Slide, 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 slide. That has happened. So we're going to go up for a post-event social. First round on us, actually on IATS Payments, our sponsor, whom we love. And so it's just down the street, down Hastings, block and a half or so. But basically what you should do is wait for 5 minutes. And then someone, probably Jean, is going to be your Pied Piper and take you right there. So in 5 minutes, we're all just going to wander out as a group. 3 people are going to stay behind to clean up because they're good people, and we'll take it from there. But before I let you go, I should show off and say we actually have another event planned already. So we're going to take December off because y'all are very busy. So I'm going to let you do your thing. Then we're all going to come back, and we're going to do the biggest, fanciest event we do within our regular schedule, which is our nonprofit technology trends event. So we're going to bring out probably 10 to 15 experts who are all going to do like 5 to 10 minute, like super fast presentations about one trend, tool, or thing you should be paying attention to as we come into 2020. There's going to be about 100 of us here, so come early. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you have a trend, topic, or tool that we should all be paying attention to for 2020, come talk to me, and I will give you a space on this table. Stage. There we go. And that is it, except for one last beg to say, come. We need your help. This thing doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you step up. And that is the end of this event. So, as you wander out, what you can do is take your dishes with you and just drop them on the counter over in the kitchen. Otherwise, we'll take care of the rest of it. So again, Jean is going to be hopping up and down and waving at you in about 3 minutes now. She's going to escort all of you out, and then with you out of the way, I will do some cleanup. It'll be a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Thank you once again to all the volunteers who have made this happen. And again, really grateful again to Amanda for leading the charge and making this event happen. So thank you.